Good afternoon and welcome everyone. On behalf of Miller Center for Social Entrepreneurship, I'd like to welcome you to the Action Research Plans pitch session. Miller Center, as one of the centers of distinction at Santa Clara, has the mission to accelerate entrepreneurship, to end poverty and protect the planet. Our Global Social Benefit Fellowship is the premier undergraduate research fellowship at Santa Clara University. Today you'll be hearing the pitches, the presentations from our fellows in preparation for their research to be conducted over the rest of this year. Each presentation will be about 4 minutes long, and you'll have the opportunity to be able to answer or to present your own questions. We're using the Zoom webinar platform today, so if you look in the lower bar of your computer, you can see a little button called Q&A, and that will allow you to pose questions as you go along. So to host our fellows, I'd like to introduce Dr. Stephen Carroll. He is the academic director of the Global Social Benefit Fellowship. Stephen?
Thank you, Keith. My responsibility today is to moderate the question and answer sessions in today's webinar. So I'm going to reinforce what Keith said and remind you of the question and answer button at the bottom of your screen. Please use that button to raise a window which will allow you to type in your questions during the presentations so that I can then ask those questions of the presenters after they're finished. So to get us started today, I'd like to welcome Smart Havens Africa.
Hello, I'm Brooke Van Sant, an economics and finance major from Camino Island, Washington. I'm thrilled to be a Global Social Benefit Fellow and really grateful for the opportunity to get some hands-on experience in the field of social entrepreneurship. I'm a firm believer that business has the power to change the world, and this fellowship is an awesome opportunity for me to use the business skills that I've been developing at Santa Clara for a greater good.
Hi, and I'm DJ Lambert. I am an economics and political science major from Redmond, Washington, and I'm excited to apply my studies working with data to support social entrepreneurship through the Miller Center. Next slide.
In Uganda, there's a severe shortage of affordable and adequate housing for low-income earners. This has led many people to live in unsafe homes with incredibly high monthly payments that never lead to homeownership. Smart Haven Africa is a young Ugandan company that's providing a pathway to home ownership for low-income earners through a rent-to-own financing model. Smart Haven's homes are made from local materials and are designed to be affordable, high quality, and eco-friendly.
There are two main areas that we can help Smart Haven strengthen its future outlook. The first of these areas of need is marketing. Right now, Smart Havens does not know the common characteristics of its most successful customers and how to draw more of them. Smart Havens needs to find applicants who will want to follow through on buying a home once their application has been approved, but who also have an income high enough to purchase the home while still having an income low enough to make Smart Havens the only viable option for them to secure housing. The second area of need for Smart Havens is the collection of data, specifically its impact data. To understand its current social impact, Smart Havens needs to collect information on how its product impacts the lives of its customers. Then, as Smart Havens works to maximize its social impact by adjusting its product and scaling, tracking the changes in its impact will provide valuable information that future decisions can be based on. Next slide.
DJ and I will start to address these needs by designing a survey that will be administered to Smart Haven's current customers and applicants with the help of the Smart Havens staff. This survey will fulfill multiple purposes. First, it will provide us with demographic information on all of Smart Haven's customers and applicants, which we will use in several different aspects of our later analysis. Second, customers and applicants will tell us about their marketing preferences and provide information about which aspects of housing are most important to them. Third, we will collect baseline information about the lives, incomes, health, and entrepreneurial activities of all of Smart Haven customers and applicants to serve as a baseline for future impact evaluations. We will also conduct interviews with Smart Haven's current customers to establish what they think Smart Haven's impact has been on them, and then also to get information about which aspects of Smart Haven's products meet their needs and which do not. Next slide.
From the market research survey data will come two deliverables. The first is a target customer profile. We believe that Smart Havens needs to target a very specific kind of customer to be successful in the long run. After analyzing our survey data, We will create a target customer profile that will include demographic information and other characteristics common to Smart Haven's best customers. The second deliverable is a report of marketing recommendations that will indicate the best way to reach the target customer and the housing preferences of that type of customer. From the impact evaluation activities will come two more deliverables. The first is a preliminary impact report that will present basic metrics of impact, such as the changes in health, income, and investment in children since the household bought its Smart Havens home. The second deliverable will be an annual impact survey that will be used to collect and update social impact data every year. With this data, Smart Havens will be able to construct more advanced social impact reports in the future, allowing them to gain a better understanding of their impact over time. And finally, we will update Smart Haven's existing housing application to better collect baseline social impact information and enable easier identification of ideal customers. Thank you very much for watching our presentation. And now if there are any questions from the audience.
Thanks, Brooke and DJ. First question, how will you ensure that you get enough people to take your survey?
Yeah, so that's an excellent question. And so right now, Smart Havens Africa has built 18 homes. And so there are 18 households living in those homes. And it has about 400 applicants for future housing. Now, clearly a sample size of 18 is very small on its own, and we can't really afford to have people not take the survey. And so how we will incentivize them to take the survey is by including a small payment to add that incentive. And the difficulty for us will be determining the size of that payment. We don't want it to be too big, or else we might end up attracting, getting people to take the survey who really don't want to take the survey and are just taking it for the money. And that will skew our data. But also it has to be big enough so that people on the margins are actually influenced by the payment amount. And so we will be working with the Smart Havens team to actually determine the dollar quantity.
Excellent, thank you. Next question. Why do you think that the needs you've outlined are the top two priorities for Smart Havens?
That's a really good question. When we were talking with Smart Havens, one thing that came up was that the company is really young and it's getting prepared to scale. They have really aggressive expansion plans and have had a really successful first few years. So this is a pretty pivotal moment for them where they can put some systems in place that will allow them to scale later with much more intentionality and a lot more information. So we think that both of these activities, the market research and the social impact evaluations, will help inform their future scaling plans. So we're happy to be able to come in at a point that's really critical to the future success of the company and provide information that will help guide them as they grow.
Excellent, thank you. I've got one more question. This one's from Bridget Helms. What are your hypotheses about the ideal profile and characteristics for Smart Havens African customers?
From the conversations that we've had with past mentors of Smart Havens, it seems like there is a particular job set of Smart Havens customers that tend to be the best fit. One of the things that was mentioned was moto drivers who tend to have a pretty consistent high income but still can't afford larger houses from other housing providers. So that's something that we should look at. But I'm also really curious to kind of find out what are the important housing sizes, the comfortable payments that those people can make, and also you know, some of the more fun stuff like what housing layout is most important to them and things like that. But I think it is going to be a certain niche of job types that would be most effective for Smart Havens to go target.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Brooke and DJ. Now let's move on to Cocotech.
Hi, my name is Lauren Cherry, and I'm from Littleton, Colorado. I'm a junior and a double major studying economics and public health with a minor in biology. I'm excited to be a part of the Global Social Benefit Fellowship because it provides me with a unique opportunity to combine my majors and passions through action research. This research allows me to seek creative and innovative solutions to create sustainable social change in public health and in economic development.
Hi, My name is Izzy Silver, and I am from Issaquah, Washington. I am a junior and a double major studying biology and public health with a minor in Spanish studies. This fellowship has provided me the opportunity to improve my research skills while also in the pursuit of positive social progress and sustainable impact. And I look forward to applying what I've learned so far towards global inequities within health systems. Next slide.
Izzy and I are extremely excited to introduce to you our social enterprise, Cocotech. So Cocotech is a digital software company located in Yangon, Myanmar, and it aims to increase access to credible information to further improve the lives of people in Myanmar. So their main digital application is a Facebook app called Mei, which means mommy in Burmese. This application provides maternal health information to Myanmar mothers through multiple different services. Some of these services include engineering chatbots on Facebook for self-assessments, recommends products, generates a timeline of text reminders to ensure correct spread of maternal health information. They partner with doctors to respond to telehealth requests and appointments. And in midst of COVID-19, Cocotech is also distributing COVID-19 information and resources to the people in Myanmar.
So since the launching of this app in 2014, its followers and users on Facebook has grown significantly. However, recently the engagement has plateaued. So in turn, to increase Facebook engagement as well as customer acquisition, Cocotech aims to find effective and innovative ways to both gain and retain its customers. Cocotech has requested that Lauren and I focus on optimizing the use of Facebook ads as well as Facebook campaigns to achieve a wider reach in Myanmar. Next slide. So over the summer, Lauren and I will be gathering quantitative data from the users of Mei. Some of the data analytical tools that we will be using include Facebook Business Manager, Facebook Creator Studio, and CrowdTangle. We will be using these tools to then collect our data points. And some of our data points will include clicks per post, cost per click, number of likes, loves, wows, length of video viewing, and cost per advertisement. And then using this data, we will develop and test various hypotheses surrounding Facebook engagement. And then we will analyze and report our results through a guide for the Cocotech digital marketing team on effective Facebook practices for both content and advertisements. Next slide.
Yeah, so as Izzy mentioned, we will conduct these research activities and create our main deliverable, which is a social media toolkit. So the goal of this toolkit is to provide basically a model of the most effective and engaging Facebook advertisements. Over the summer, we will be analyzing data at multiple different time points during our whole overarching project. So this research will allow us to observe and document different themes, trends, and best practices to create a guide on optimized posting. So at the same time, we will also be proposing innovative evaluation methods to enhance Cocotech's digital marketing strategies. Izzy and I are extremely excited for this project, and we hope this deliverable will help Cocotech boost its digital marketing practices and continue to grow its customer base in Myanmar.
Thank you for listening. We really appreciate you taking the time. Does anyone have any questions?
Yes, thank you. First question. What is Cocotech's current level of engagement on Facebook?
Yeah, so as Izzy expressed, the app was launched in 2014 and the user base has grown since. So the use of the Facebook app has widened to a reach of about 1.5 million to 1.7 million. And the potential and goal is to reach about 4 million mothers in total in the country of Myanmar.
Okay, that's a pretty heavy lift. Okay. Does Cocotech use any other forms of social media to advertise?
So yes, Cocotech also has Instagram and Twitter. However, in Myanmar, Facebook is typically seen as the internet. So it is one of the main sources of news and information, and that is why we are focusing on Facebook for this project.
Excellent. Thank you so much. Let us move on now. We're going to go to CycloConnect.
Hi, my name is Katie Van Mathuizen. I'm from Denver, Colorado, and I'm a marketing major. I'm passionate about social entrepreneurship because I see it as a genuine mechanism that brings about positive change. To me, merging business and technology together with a higher purpose is an academically enlightening and spiritually rewarding opportunity.
Hi, my name is Benjamin Grundy. I'm from Los Angeles, California, and I'm double majoring in environmental science and political science. I believe that social entrepreneurship is a field that requires courage. Social entrepreneurs must have the courage to restore balance to unequal social equilibriums by using what they know, understanding what they don't know, and never forgetting the agency and dignity of the people they're working with. Next slide.
With a vision to become the leading provider of transformative financial solutions, Cycle Connect's mission is a social enterprise that strives to end poverty in Uganda through providing asset-based loans and training to smallholder farmers. Through talking with the Cycle Connect team and understanding their core vision for its clients and organization as a whole, Ben and I have identified 2 statements of need. The first one discusses its current training curriculum, and the second is about customer satisfaction. Cycle Connect currently guides its clients at every step of the loan process through training with an overall goal of helping their clients reach financial literacy. Currently, the training curriculum is not being distributed in a way that focuses on strong comprehension. Second, Cycle Connect is in need of a system for collecting customer feedback amid COVID-19 to ensure Cycle Connect's trainings and products deepen the social impact for its farmers. Next slide.
Katie and I will conduct 4 main research activities. The first 3 research activities will work towards delivering an updated training curriculum to Cycle Connect to ensure that their clients are reaching financial literacy. The first research activity will be for Katie and I to go through and analyze all of Cycle Connect's current training curriculum and practices to identify areas of improvement. Then, our team will move on to research activities 2 and 3 and conduct interviews with Cycle Connect's loan officers and clients to receive their insights into where current training practices are both strong and weak. Lastly, Katie and I will work towards delivering Cycle Connect a market research report by interviewing and surveying loan and relationship officers as well as clients to better understand if the client's needs are being met by Cycle Connect's current services. Next slide. As mentioned before, Katie and I will deliver an updated training curriculum that ensures Cycle Connect's clients are reaching both financial and technological literacy.
The second deliverable is a market research report to help understand how its clients' needs are changing in a very dynamic environment. This will help Cycle Connect's products and evaluation protocol be more value-enhancing for its clients. If we proceed with these 2 deliverables, we are confident it will address the thoughts and concerns of Cycle Connect to ensure sustained growth and development. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. Ben, what tools will you guys be using to conduct your surveys and interviews?
That's a great question. So our main tools that Katie and I plan to use are offline Google surveys, as well as conducting Zoom meetings with the loan officers, relationship officers, and hopefully clients if we can get some communication between the loan officers and the clients. But also we recently found out from Spencer that there's actually 2 former Miller Center alumni, TerraWorks and EngageSpark, that have platforms for disseminating surveys. So we're going to look into contacting those 2 former alumni and working to disseminate our surveys through their platforms.
Nice. Yes. Miller Center network at work here.
Definitely.
So what makes Cycle Connect different from other microfinance institutions?
So one of the main goals that Cycle Connect is trying to do is sort of the last mile outreach and really reaching rural smallholder farmers that don't typically have access to standard microfinance institutions. Most often they turn to alternative sources of financial services, whether that's through neighbors or friends, family members. And oftentimes those loan rates can be extremely high, or they might not be able to get enough money because they're unable to put up the collateral. So Cycle Connect really works to have farmer-centric loan terms so that their clients can receive these loans and that they're not taking on these loans and kind of furthering that cycle of debt if they're unable to repay them.
Okay, excellent. This question is from Christopher Bacon. Any information that you have on how COVID-19 has impacted their enterprise and maybe how you're thinking about how you're going to address that?
Mm-hmm. So with the COVID-19 crisis, there's been a pretty strict lockdown in Uganda. and that's had a big impact on their clients being able to get food. So there's a lot of food insecurity currently going on. A lot of the clients have actually had to turn to eating their seed loans that they've received. So CycleConnect has actually been implementing emergency seed loans so that their clients can continue growing their crops and so they continue to have a source of income coming in. They've also turned to donating bicycles. They also do bicycle loans, but they're actually now donating bicycles to medical workers so they can continue to reach their clients and go to their places of work so there's still access to care for all of their clients. And then another avenue that they're doing is they're setting up sort of a call center, but more like a customer feedback platform. So they're actively engaged with their clients and ensuring that their clients' needs are being met as they deal with this pandemic.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Let us move on to CAD Africa now.
Hi, I'm Jasmine Birdsall. I'm from Montana and I'm studying psychology and public health. I'm excited to apply my research skills to social entrepreneurship and learn how action research can help me develop my goals in reducing gender-based violence.
And I'm Nick Carson. I'm from Idaho and I'm studying biology and environmental science. I'm interested in social entrepreneurship because I'm able to apply my passion for conservation into action research to create social change. Next slide, please. CAD Africa seeks to increase female agency through education and smallholder agriculture, which breaks down barriers to economic opportunities that young women in Uganda face.
CAD Africa's current curriculum doesn't offer mental health resources to its beneficiaries, as these resources are largely absent in Uganda, especially in rural settings. As CAD continues to scale its impact to include refugee beneficiaries who have faced a lot of hardship and a lot of trauma, it's really important to consider what resources are most helpful to promote healing for these girls. By providing mental health resources to out-of-school girls and refugees, CAD Africa's curriculum will be better adapted to helping these girls achieve holistic health and wellness.
The current curriculum offered through the CAD Africa experience is not fully utilized because following the program, many girls create micro-enterprises in saturated markets. An innovative list of business plans for reaching untapped markets would help the girls harness skills and economic knowledge learned in the CAD Africa experience into productive and sustainable entrepreneurships. Next slide, please.
To begin our research with CAD, we'll be developing interviews and surveys with CAD Africa employees, beneficiaries, alumni, and experts in mental health and research. The survey we develop will help us understand what specific mental health needs can be addressed with the added curriculum and what challenges girls currently face with dealing with their mental health. Our interviews will give us insights into the social and cultural worlds, which is a really necessary step as we develop our deliverables with cultural competency. They'll also show us what specific needs educators who teach the curriculum have and how best to address these needs.
We will then analyze and code our survey and interview data to uncover our key findings.
These findings will be used to modify, reformat, and organize CAD's current curriculum.
We will also be developing 10 innovative micro-enterprise ideas in unsaturated markets as alternatives to passion fruit farming for the beneficiaries. Next slide, please.
The product of our research will be an easily digestible, organized, modified curriculum that'll feature new evidence-based and culturally competent mental health resources. In addition to the added curriculum, we'll also be updating CAD's reproductive health curriculum, and we'll also be reformatting the course material to be organized for the CAD educators. The organization of the curriculum will separate the categories of information into modules, including reproductive health, life skills, agriculture, climate and farming skills, business and financial skills, and mental health resources. Each module will include the curriculum taught, some activities, and some engaging teaching strategies for the educators.
For the second deliverable, the business ideas need to meet three main criteria. First of all, the micro-enterprises need to be sustainable. By this, we mean that they should be in unsaturated markets and should be successful business models into the future. Additionally, the micro-enterprises need to be accessible, so that it's feasible for the girls to start them using money from savings groups formed during the program. Finally, it is fundamental that the business plans are appealing. They will invest a large amount of time and money into these micro enterprises, so it is something they need to be interested in. After we determine that these ideas are viable, we will categorize the list and gather other information that will be helpful for the educators who present them. Our ultimate goal with these deliverables is to improve CAD Africa's curriculum so that it stays on the cutting edge and provides beneficiaries with knowledge, skills, and opportunities that will aid in their success.
Thank you for watching our presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
We've got a lot of questions for this one. So Lindsay Allen asks, you mentioned cultural competency will be necessary in applying some of the findings and modifying the CAD curriculum. What are some of the key issues that you'll have to be mindful of during this process?
So I think that one of the biggest things that I can speak to is that mental health in Uganda is pretty highly stigmatized, and a lot of CAD's curriculum is actually pretty cutting edge and innovative in compared to some organizations that function in Uganda. So it's really important that we are considering all of these issues as we develop the curriculum, and especially our interviews, because that is really sensitive information that people in Uganda might not be super comfortable talking about. So those are cultural considerations that are really important for us to be mindful of.
Okay, second question, this one from Kelly Carson. What are some of the business ideas that you have considered so far?
So we're not really currently in the stage of having any specific ideas in mind, but it was really important for us to recognize early on that the ideas aren't really going to be novel coming from outside that we're going to bring in. So most of these ideas will come from within the communities, the local communities in Uganda. So as we begin to interview and collect data, we'll get a better idea of what these ideas will be. Currently, we're looking at other social enterprises in the area that we could scale down to a micro enterprise level and implement, as well as looking at other micro enterprises that have started in surrounding communities that we could implement in the local communities.
Nice. Okay, so a follow-up question to that, this one by Megan Evans. Are any of these mental health resources you're planning on compiling already locally led or locally established?
So there actually isn't a lot of healthcare infrastructure right now in Uganda, which makes having sort of already existing culturally competent mental health resources a challenge. Something that Nick and I are working on right now is adapting a WHO survey, a World Health Organization survey that has been used in Ugandan refugee camps before, and then we'll be looking over those questions to try and make sure that we can develop something with a professional who does these sort of mental health activities already in Uganda, so that we can ensure that everything is very culturally relevant before we deliver it to CAD.
Okay, one last thing. How are you going to ensure that the women and girls will be open to mental health growth?
Yeah, so that's a really good question. I think that, something that's going to be really important for us is to explore that in our surveys and be sure again that we're being very careful and sensitive when we are asking really sensitive information, and making sure that we're doing a lot of research on past strategies to implement mental health resources in the highly stigmatized areas like Uganda.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Jasmine and Nick. I'm going to turn it over now to Dig.
Hi everyone, my name is Bryn Pello. I'm from Denver, Colorado, and I study economics and environmental studies with a focus in green business. I am so excited for the opportunity to work with Development and Gardening as a Global Social Benefit Fellow, because I believe that food systems centered around people and the planet are such a crucial part of sustainable development. Social entrepreneurship is also a great intersection of my two areas of study, and I'm eager to apply that knowledge.
Hi everyone, my name's Julia Jenick. I'm from Boulder, Colorado and study environmental science with a minor in Spanish. I'm grateful for this opportunity to work with DIG and learn about how DIG is using community-based agriculture as a tool to address injustices in the communities they are serving. Next slide. Development in Gardening, or DIG, is a social enterprise that works primarily in Kenya, Uganda, and Senegal to improve the nutrition and livelihoods of uniquely vulnerable communities by planting restorative gardens that grow health, wealth, and a sense of belonging. In the past several weeks, Bryn and I have identified two primary problems concerning the communication strategies of the enterprise that need to be addressed so that DIG can further fulfill its mission through the work it is completing. First, DIG's internal communication system lacks organization. Because of this, DIG does not have a consistent voice to use on their social media profiles. As well, the images and stories of the farmers from the field are not relayed efficiently to the social media manager for posting. Second, DIG does not know the best social media practices to use on the different social media platforms. As a result, DIG is not fully capitalizing on the opportunities that social media platforms provide to engage with target audiences. Next slide. In order to address the needs of the enterprise, Bryn and I will conduct a series of research activities. First, we will collect both qualitative and quantitative data. We will conduct internal and external literature reviews, and will collect audience engagement data from DIG's past social media posts. Next, we will review and analyze the data. After, we will present our data in the form of deliverables to the enterprise, and Bryn will talk a little bit more about this in the next slide. After our deliverables are submitted to the enterprise, we will begin to conduct an impact analysis to measure the success of the application of the deliverables. Next slide.
So the culmination of our research will be two deliverables. The first is a communication guidebook for the future DIG social media managers and DIG directors. This will provide internal organization and communication strategies for sharing content on DIG's digital platforms. This document will guide the social media manager and directors in deciding how to promote fundraising agendas, how to craft written copy with consistent language and tone, and how to choose visuals and stories that garner the most engagement. By unifying DIG's voice and implementing optimal digital storytelling strategies, DIG will be able to grow public support, increase revenue, and partnership networks. The second deliverable will be a training module to instruct program managers in the fields on capturing powerful images and telling authentic and detailed stories from Kenya, Uganda, and Senegal. The instruction will be based on our analysis of optimal strategies for digital platforms.
Julia, I think you need to pick up and carry the rest of the presentation. We seem to have lost Bryn.
Excellent, thank you. So the second deliverable will be a training module to instruct program managers in the field on capturing powerful images and telling authentic, detailed stories from Kenya, Uganda, and Senegal. The instruction will be based on our analysis of formal strategies for digital platforms. It will share the best types of photos to take and the best format for sharing content between project managers and the social media manager. This new process will allow for more efficiency in collecting and posting images and captions to then be shared with the public audience. It will decrease the need for intermediary oversight from DIG directors, as more information will be provided directly to the social media manager. In addition, these stories from beneficiaries may bring about more engagement by connecting the audience with the farmers on a deeper level. Does anyone have any questions?
Thanks, Bryn and Julia. First question, what's unique about the way that DIG addresses food vulnerability and economic vulnerability?
This was one of our favorite things to learn about from Sarah, who was one of the people who started DIG. One of the things that was really impressive to us is that DIG works with farmers or people in communities who are below the poverty line, bringing them up to the poverty line. A lot of other NGOs and enterprises that are working within the same sector are working with people who are at the poverty line and bringing them even further above it. But DIG is really targeting people who are located below the poverty line. And as well, something that Bryn and I loved learning about was DIG comes into a community and is able to train a select group of farmers. And then beyond that, after the farmers graduate from the DIG training program, those farmers are able to share their knowledge with everyone else in the community. So even though DIG is only able to interact directly with a few farmers in every community, those farmers share their knowledge and teach what they have learned from the program to other people in their community. And that is really powerful, this sort of self-propagating model that the enterprise is using.
This question from Chris Bacon, how long has DIG been doing this kind of work? And have you checked out any other experiences in other countries that you've considered using as examples?
So DIG has been doing this for around 13 years now, and the enterprise has grown a lot. DIG has focused in on Kenya, Uganda, and Senegal, and has also worked in other countries as well. We haven't, specific to DIG, we haven't looked beyond Kenya, Uganda, and Senegal. And when it comes to looking to other enterprises or NGOs that are working in other countries and doing similar things, Bryn and I haven't had a chance to look into that yet, but is a great thing to consider when we're moving forward. And I think will absolutely be part of our literature review of what practices similar social enterprises or similar NGOs are taking in different countries, working with similar populations, and how we can use some of those same techniques, starting out just with internal and external communication strategies and then expanding beyond that. But definitely looking at other enterprises and NGOs for what they are able to accomplish with similar groups.
Okay, one more question. This one from Lauren Oliver. How will you ensure that social media posts affirm the dignity of the farmers and tell an authentic story rather than just glorifying donors?
Mm-hmm. That is a great question and something that we have considered a lot. And that is one of the reasons why Bryn and I are interested in making this guide for the program managers, is to make sure that all of the information that is coming from the field that's being presented to the social media managers is really detailed information that is accurately telling the stories of those farmers. And so if we create a system where all of the information that the program manager in the field, all of that information that they're getting from the farmer, the story, everything, is then being communicated back to the social media manager, then there's less of a chance that the corporation or the social media manager, the directors in any way, are going to manipulate that information or add information that might not have been from the farmer. And so it's going to be more authentic, honest storytelling when the social media manager who is in charge of communicating with the general public is getting more detailed information directly from the program manager in the field and the farmer.
Bryn, this one's for you. What social media forms are you hypothesizing will reach the public most effectively?
Right now, Instagram is one of the biggest platforms for DIG, as well as Facebook, because one of DIG's target audiences is more middle-aged, and Facebook tends to be more popular with that target audience.
Okay, and how are you going to be collecting data? Which tools are you going to be using for analyzing your posts?
Yeah, so DIG collects data analysis from all of the social media will tell us engagement on specific posts and what regions are being reached, as well as specific ages and genders.
Excellent. Thank you both. I'm going to turn it over now to InnovationWorks.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pearl Human, and I'm a public health science and psychology double major with a biology minor from Los Angeles, California. I am so grateful to be a GSBF this year and learn more about public health. I love that social entrepreneurship addresses one's social determinants of health to create impact that is both sustainable and far-reaching, and I'm so excited to be a part of that impact.
Hello, my name is Alexa Williams. I am a sociology and communication double major with a minor in applied ethics. I'm from San Jose, California. I was interested in this fellowship because I believe we all have a duty to work towards social progress in whatever capacities we can, and I see social entrepreneurship as a way to create that sustainable change. I'm particularly looking forward to using the interviewing and survey skills I have developed to provide something meaningful for our social enterprise. Next slide, please. InnovationWorks Baltimore is a community organization and social enterprise accelerator. InnovationWorks' mission statement is to close the racial wealth divide in Baltimore that disproportionately affects Black and Latino residents. They create social impact through community outreach with business programs such as Boost, and they utilize the GSBI curriculum. They also use physical spaces such as Ignite Hubs. InnovationWorks connects with entrepreneurs with the resources and knowledge to solve their problems by leveraging local assets. These workshops and community spaces offer free business consultation through one-on-one meetings with members of the InnovationWorks team. To make sure our work is as impactful as possible, we need to clearly define the areas of InnovationWorks needs and figure out how our deliverables fit into that. We have identified 2 areas of needs. The knowledge of innovation work, they have been facilitating their key community connections and conversations. However, this has not been explicitly documented. This information needs to be explained such that people outside of the team can understand what they do and use the similar methods to implement in other contexts when they scale. Additionally, InnovationWorks does not have an internal source of revenue. Therefore, it is reliant on economic support through different donors and grants. Because of this, InnovationWorks needs to compile a list of resources and metrics that allow it to quantify its success and impact, therefore making it competitive for grant applications in the future. Next slide, please.
Our research plan seeks to address these needs by helping us understand InnovationWorks methodology. First, we will be conducting interviews with numerous members of the InnovationWorks team, their community partners, and members of the Miller Center. Through these interviews, we hope to learn about what aspects of InnovationWorks are mission-specific and which are relevant to Baltimore specifically. We also hope to conduct ethnographic research on-site in Baltimore, but this will depend on how safe it is to travel later this year. Next, we will be organizing and analyzing our data to pick out salient aspects of InnovationWorks methodology that are relevant for a playbook. This analysis will also help us determine what sets InnovationWorks apart from other social enterprise and business accelerators. Our analysis will then allow us to compile the data into a playbook in a way that is helpful and easy to understand. In doing so, we will have created a deliverable that will help InnovationWorks as it begins to scale into other cities. Next slide. As said previously, we will be creating a playbook for InnovationWorks that thoroughly documents their methodology. We believe that a playbook will be helpful in InnovationWorks' efforts to scale because it will document the ingredients for success that make InnovationWorks special. In essence, we will be explaining how InnovationWorks goes about creating social impact. This playbook will not only highlight InnovationWorks' areas of strength, but also areas for growth.
Our tentative topics of discussion in this playbook include things like mission and impact, operating model and business logic, markets and customers, leaderships and teams, financial models, modes of financing, and roadmap. We also plan to put this data in and organize documents to this resource folder for grant applications so InnovationWorks can create competitive applications in the future. Thank you for listening. Are there any questions?
First question for you. What's the biggest challenge you anticipate in completing this playbook by remote means?
Yeah, so one of our jobs here is to essentially observe and then present what makes InnovationWorks so special. Part of this we can learn through documents and interviews, but part of their success lies in the culture that is cultivated on site, both in their office and at the Ignite Hubs. We hope that we are able to travel at some point this year to see this wonderful team in action, but if not, we will have to use the interviews we conduct to help us understand these intangible qualities that make InnovationWorks successful.
Okay, and so what are you hoping for? What do you hope is going to come out of all this?
Yeah, so as we mentioned before, we're really hoping that this will help InnovationWorks solidify the methodology that makes it is very key in its success. So InnovationWorks is looking to scale and expand its impact into another city. For the grant applications, we'd love to see InnovationWorks be successful in creating this application to get more funding so it can continue to sustain its day-to-day practices as well as scale its impact.
Nice. So this question is from Lindsay Allen. What data are you going to be focusing on, and how do you think analyzing that data is going to help move InnovationWorks forward?
Yeah, so I think primarily we'll be relying on interviews. And as we do interviews, we'll be able to see what sort of documents we may need. A lot of this will be reliant on an open communication with Jay and Frank, who are currently the heads of InnovationWorks in Baltimore, and kind of understanding through our interviews what documentation we can receive from them on how InnovationWorks functions.
Excellent. Thank you both very much. Now I'm going to turn things over to Eggpreneur.
Hi, my name is Marissa Boylan. I'm from Pohnpei in the Federated States of Micronesia, and I'm an environmental science and women and gender studies double major. I believe that social enterprises have an incredible potential to advance sustainable, equitable solutions to combat global injustices, and I'm so excited to be a part of this mission.
Hi everyone, my name is Erin Malcolm. I'm from Fayetteville, Georgia, and I'm an ethnic studies major at Santa Clara. I'm excited to be a part of this fellowship to learn more about creative solutions and the positive impacts of social enterprises while engaging in action research. Our fellowship over the next few months will be centered on Eggpreneur. Next slide.
So Eggpreneur is a small social enterprise with the mission to empower women and promote inclusive and sustainable economic growth in remote rural areas. It accomplishes these goals by training women of rural Kenya in entrepreneurial poultry farming. Eggpreneur has recently partnered with the Sisters Blended Value Project to scale their impact. And to assist them in accomplishing their goals, we have identified 3 areas of need for which we will offer revisions.
First, the Eggpreneur playbook has yet to be revised since its creation last year because it has not been able to collect learners' evaluations of their experience with these materials. As such, there needs to be a critical review of beneficiaries' experiences with this material so Eggpreneur can adapt its playbook in the future. Second, there is a need to create platforms that beneficiaries, including sisters, can use to communicate their accomplishments and to forge new partnerships. Social media presents opportunities to connect with investors, share stories of impact, and exercise agency. Third, Eggpreneur and the sisters do not yet have a formal process to obtain information about their partners and beneficiaries after they complete their training. As such, they cannot report their impact, assess trends among beneficiaries, or adjust their program to tackle potential issues.
To address these needs, we will engage in the following research activities. Next slide. First, through a series of Zoom calls, we will meet with the sisters to gather information regarding their experiences with Eggpreneur's apprenticeship program as learners. We will also discuss the ways that they would like to see their stories presented on social media and how they see, experience, and record their impact within their communities. Next, we will design a survey that uses both operational and social metrics to assess how Eggpreneur's partners are doing after their poultry farming training. Our survey will address 4 main components: social impact, economic impact, sustainability, and UN Sustainable Development Goals. We will then compare the results of our survey with current statistics about comparable populations. Finally, we will compile our findings into formats that can be easily shared with the Eggpreneur team. We will work with Eggpreneur and the Miller Center to revise and incorporate our findings into the apprenticeship and to social media playbooks.
Our research will result in the following deliverables. Next slide. First, incorporating the insights of sisters will allow us to update and improve the existing Eggpreneur apprenticeship playbook, and this improved playbook will be used by future congregations and groups that partner with Eggpreneur. Our second deliverable will be the co-creation and delivery of the African Storytelling in a Digital World playbook. Sisters and beneficiaries can reference this playbook when establishing social media platforms for themselves and for their enterprises. Our findings and subsequent recommendations will also be available to Eggpreneur and the sisters to share with their beneficiaries. Our last deliverable will take the form of recommended enhancements for impact measurements for Eggpreneur and its partners. This will combine valuable stories of impact from sisters and Eggpreneur with quantitative data to support these narratives with new social impact metrics. Thank you for listening to our presentation, and are there any questions?
Thanks, Marissa and Erin. First question: how will you mindfully craft a survey that will accurately represent the beneficiaries?
While we expect our survey results will demonstrate Eggpreneurs' positive economic and social impacts, we will be careful to avoid constructing our survey or interview questions in a way that would accomplish these goals unfairly. We will run drafts of the survey through the Eggpreneur team and through the sister congregations to get feedback throughout the process of creating it. And we hope to create it with a design that allows for dialogue and difference rather than trying to get homogeneous results.
Excellent. Second question, this one's from Megan Evans. How will you be reaching beneficiaries to gather impact data? Will you be trying to implement your impact surveys into the regular activities of Eggpreneurs so they have continuous measurement of their impact metrics? Or are you just planning to have periodic impact surveys?
Our plan right now and the goal that Eggpreneur has expressed is to conduct a quarterly survey every few months to get results and information from their beneficiaries. So we will be creating an online survey that can be sent out to those who can easily access that, as well as a physical form that Eggpreneur and the sisters can distribute to the individual beneficiaries that they work with.
Excellent. This one from Bosu Constant. Can you elaborate a little bit more on your deliverable of African storytelling in a digital world playbook?
Yes, so we have recognized that historically, outsiders coming into Africa to try to help have a tendency to overshadow and overstep the stories that people actually want to tell. And so we want to incorporate traditional African storytelling so that we can adapt it and use it on social media through the ways that the sisters and their beneficiaries are already comfortable with. So we are going to do a lot of outside research through available literature, as well as by speaking directly with the sisters to see what they are the most comfortable with.
Excellent. Thank you both very much. I'm going to turn it over now to Teach a Man to Fish.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. My name is Shelby White. I am a communication major originally from Kelso, Washington, and I'm super excited to be working with the Miller Center as a Global Social Benefit Fellow. I see endless possibility in the field of social entrepreneurship, and I truly believe that this movement has the potential to better the world, both ethically and sustainably.
Awesome. Hi, everyone. My name is Nikki. I'm from Danville, California, and I'm studying marketing at Santa Clara. I am so excited to be a fellow because I believe that social entrepreneurs are finding innovative ways to create lasting social change in the world, and I want to be a part of that change. Next slide, please. So we are working with Teach Amanda Fish, a social enterprise that helps schools in developing nations to educate students in business curriculum and create school businesses. In doing so, students gain a practical and hands-on business education while also generating revenue for their schools. Teach Amanda Fish is partnering with Catholic Sisters in Eastern Africa in hopes of optimizing its school enterprise model so that it can provide even greater value to Catholic schools in the future.
In working with Teach Amanda Fish and the sisters thus far, Nikki and I have identified 3 areas of need. First, Teach Amanda Fish lacks the necessary insight to optimize its school enterprise model in the sister schools because its inexperience working with Catholic sisters prevents it from recognizing the unique needs of these schools. Furthermore, while the sisters have farmland and are perceived as trustworthy by local communities, they lack the business acumen required to build successful farming enterprises within their schools.
And finally, without a compelling means of communicating their activities, these school enterprises cannot tell their stories to an international audience and attract investors. Next slide, please. As fellows, we will conduct 4 principal research activities: implementation evaluation, market research, interviews and surveys, and ethnographic data collection.
The overarching goal of our research is to evaluate the implementation of the Teach Amanda Fish curriculum when working with the Catholic Sisters. That being said, this implementation evaluation extends to all of our research deliverables, as each one involves a level of active application of the material while we are reviewing it. Part of this implementation also includes doing market research alongside the sisters and their students. This provides them with the opportunity to practice the skills they gain from Teach a Man to Fish, while allowing us to better assist the delivery of the curriculum as we grow to understand their enterprise with them.
Using technologies such as Zoom, WhatsApp, and Google Forms, we are going to conduct interviews and surveys with the sisters and the students in order to gain insight into their experiences. Finally, we'll take ethnographic notes on our interactions with the sisters and students. We'll observe how sisters and students interact with the material, with technology, and with each other from our virtual meetings. Next slide, please.
First and foremost, our objective is to deliver a report evaluating the efficacy of the Teach a Man to Fish model when working with Catholic sister schools. This includes a list of recommendations for how the system could possibly be improved in the future, as well as noting what parts of the model are already working well and why.
Our second deliverable will support the sisters in transforming their school's subsistence farming activities into successful social enterprises by introducing them to entrepreneurial concepts and methods. This deliverable will be a farming enterprise playbook, which we will implement with the sisters and evaluate for future use.
Our final deliverable will be a strategy for the sisters and their schools to create and manage African storytelling in a digital world. This will ultimately show the sisters and school enterprises how to craft their own stories using social media and how to share these stories for an audience of global impact investors. Thank you for listening. With that, does anyone have any questions?
Thank you. First question is from Indy Hickman. What are some of the differences you're taking into account between sister schools and non-sister schools, non-sister Teach a Man to Fish partner schools?
I can take that one, Nikki. Thanks for the question, Indy. So we will be working with the Catholic sister schools exclusively. So for us, we won't necessarily be working with schools that aren't affiliated with the Catholic sisters. That being said, in terms of relying on previous Teach a Man to Fish experiences with outside schools, it will be important for us to look at the work that they've already done, some of the issues that they've already encountered, and use that to build upon just the strengths that the sisters themselves have, and really do kind of a diagnostic search of what the sisters have versus these other non-affiliated schools.
Thank you. Will this playbook be teaching the sisters farming techniques as well as business literacy?
Do you want to take it, Nikki, or do you want me to?
You go for it, Shelby.
Okay, totally. So the farming enterprise playbook is a little bit of a misnomer in the sense that we will not be working with the sisters primarily on farming techniques. So there is definitely a section focused on that. Which is important considering the fact that this is a farming enterprise playbook. But the primary purpose of this playbook is to work more on the business side of things. So Nikki and I are already working with the sisters on kind of going through this playbook, and we're trying to help them with the farming stuff as it pops up. But all of the practice problems, all of the exercises that we're going through are targeted at kind of refining their overall business acumen, because if anything, that's where we see the real need line.
Okay, last question then. So what's the significance of Teach a Man to Fish working with the Catholic sisters?
Great question. So the Catholic sisters in Africa are in a very unique and very special position. They are seen as trusted community leaders who have been providing their local citizens with social services and solving complex social issues for decades. And so a partnership between Teach a Man to Fish and the Catholic Sisters would really give both organizations the power to leverage their resources and together drive social impact even further.
Excellent. Thank you both very much. Now I'm going to turn it back over to Keith.
Hello again, everyone. As you can see, these fellows have been working very hard over the past 2.5 months to prepare themselves, and they've now summarized their planning activities in these pitches. When you see them, I encourage you to congratulate them, whether you see them virtually or live and in person if you happen to be living in there, and they happen to be living in your home. After this, they're going to submit their 30-odd page formal research proposal to the social enterprise partners as next week, along with a clip of this video, to begin in earnest the summer research activities, which will continue intensely over the summer and then continue to some degree in the fall. I encourage you to keep asking them how they're doing with this. It's an important opportunity for them to continue to grow professionally, and I'm sure they'll experience some obstacles along the way, and they would no doubt value your encouragement. Now, at the end of the fellowship in early 2021, we'll be doing a similar kind of format of this kind of video webinar, but we will be having the fellows present the results of their research, including their deliverables and how those deliverables are going to assist these social enterprise partners of ours in scaling their impact. So thank you very much for your kind attention today, and we look forward to welcoming you back at the end of the fellowship to learn about the results.